The New York Post, the front page of the Post, slamming President Biden's State of the Union address last night, dubbing him Joe Liden, writing the president told so many fibs they could not even keep track of the amount of misinformation and lies. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders delivered the Republican response afterwards. Watch.
Whether Joe Biden believes this madness or is simply too weak to resist it, his administration has been completely hijacked by the radical left. He's the first man to surrender his presidency to a woke mob that can't even tell you what a woman is. The dividing line in America is no longer between right or left. The choice is between normal or crazy. It's time for a new generation of Republican leadership. Make no mistake, Republicans will not surrender this fight.
And joining us right now is Louisiana Congressman and House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. Congressman, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Sarah Sanders, your thoughts on her performance afterwards, and then give us your take on the State of the Union.
Well, Maria, it's great to be with you, and Sarah did a great job. She just is getting started as governor of Arkansas, but of course we know her from the Trump administration, and and she's a new generation of leadership in the Republican Party. But I think it was a really sharp contrast, what she talked about and what Joe Biden had just rambled through, kind of an angry, divisive speech where he continued talking about all the old 70s adages, raising taxes, more government, baggage fees and resort fees seem to be the biggest complaint coming into the White House. But I can tell you, Maria, the biggest complaint I hear is about inflation, the spending in Washington, the open southern border, crime rampant in communities. The State of the Union is not good right now because of Joe Biden's policies, and it seemed like he just wanted to double down on it. He wants to raise taxes even more after the heels of an over $1 trillion tax and spend bill that he just signed into law on a partisan basis when Nancy Pelosi was Speaker. The American people are fed up with it. It's why they gave us a Republican House. In fact, when you look at polling to date, most Democrats, the vast majority of Democrats, don't even want Joe Biden to run for re-election. So, I thought Joe Biden's speech was out of touch with reality. Sarah Huckabee Sanders gave a really good dose of reality about the contrast between freedom, which we're fighting for, and this government control, big government socialism that Biden wants to hang on to.
Well, the New York Post says Pinocchio Joe lies in state, mistruths in speech drew GOP heckles. There were so many things that I had taken away. Not a lot of talk about China. That was sort of the elephant in the room with the spy flight having spent so much time in America above our nuclear silos in military bases. The president was also caught lying about job growth during the speech last night, touting his administration created 800,000 new jobs. But most of those jobs were lost because of the pandemic. The president created 215,000 new jobs, if you want to get specific, Congressman. Will you be able to stop this agenda at this point in the majority? You just mentioned he wants to take taxes higher, and he attacked big business a whole host of times last night and did talk about higher taxes. Are you in a position to stop that?
Absolutely, and let me make this perfectly clear, Maria. In this Republican House, there will be no more tax increases. The trillions in new taxes that Joe Biden passed under all Democrat control, House, Senate, and White House, those days are over. We're going to get focused on fighting for those hardworking families who are struggling under the weight of all of Biden's policies. He didn't talk about them. The fight for the families who can't get by. Most people can't afford to go to resorts, as he's worried about resort fees. They can't afford to put gasoline in their car because gas prices are 40% higher since Joe Biden took office. You know what's happening at the grocery stores, double-digit increases in the price of everything you buy. All of these problems that families are having, it seemed like they were left at the doorstep when he walked into the House chamber, and he talked about a lot of divisive issues. He continues telling this lie about Medicare and Social Security.
Yeah.
Maria, if you look at the numbers, when Joe Biden spent hundreds of billions paying people not to work, literally paying millions of people to sit at home when everybody is looking for workers. Those are people not paying into Medicare and Social Security. In fact, Joe Biden's policies have made Social Security more insolvent, less stable, because he's paying people not to work instead of having those people working, paying into and shoring up Social Security.
Yeah.
We want to strengthen Social Security and Medicare, and he told that lie on the House floor, and it went over very poorly, and in fact, in the end, he even walked it back. So I hope he stops telling that lie on the campaign trail, but it seems like he wants to revert back to the far left tropes that he's been talking about for a long time.
Well, Congressman, I got to get your take on China. I mean, you know, it's now demanding that the U.S. return the remains of the downed spy flight. President Biden talked about China for all of 65 seconds last night, but he did not, he did have this odd moment. We have no idea what he's talking about here. Watch this.
Name me a world leader who changed places with Xi Jinping. Name me one. Name me one.
Did you follow that, Congressman?
Yeah, I was sitting next to Tom Emmer, the majority whip, and I was looking at him going, what is he talking about? He's yelling, he's angry, he's talking about Xi. It was almost like he's jealous because there's a leader who has embarrassed him on the world stage, and Biden, for a week, looked inept. When you've got this spy balloon, literally was telegraphed days before you could have shot it down over the Pacific Ocean. He let it run across every military base in America. Didn't even talk about it last night. I think most Americans are outraged by the weakness Joe Biden displayed.
Real quick, Joe.
Congressman, it's now almost 6 years since you were shot on that baseball field in Virginia. I'm wondering, given all the surgeries you had, all the time it took to recover, how do you feel today?
Oh, thanks. I feel great. I'm still doing physical therapy once a week to get better. Great team of doctors and physical therapists that have helped me. God performed miracles that day, and I'm lucky to be alive. Thanks.
Yes, and we're lucky you are as well. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thanks very much, Steve Scalise in D.C.
Always great to be with you, Maria.
We will see you
Thanks.
soon. We are with your former colleague,